Well, I got around finally to finish up the My Adventures with Superman cartoon show. I had seen a couple of them and decided, hey, I'll take a look at it. Gave my thoughts so far on it and all that. It's not my cup of tea and the style and whatnot, and sometimes some of that can get a bit annoying. There's some aspects of it, it's interesting, and it's a means by which to fit it into its style, I suppose, and the idea that Superman's arrival connects all the other characters in the sense that there's the different power sets of the villains that are reimagined here are all connected to Kryptonian technology. It's not a bad idea in merging all of that, and Marvel did it with their Superman knockoff in Justice League series of Squadron Supreme, where they reimagined it, another reimagining, and Supreme Power, which was an interesting series. It fizzled, and it's unfortunate because it had a lot of cool aspects to it. But there was like the nanobot technology had sort of infected some humans upon the arrival of Hyperion, and other people got their powers as a result, and other technology of the spaceship, the prism gave Dr. Spectrum his powers, so on and so forth. Whereas here, Silver Banshee, it's all this equipment and whatnot, live wire and all this, and different versions of them. So within the context of the stylings of the show, I suppose it works. It seems to have kind of made the world of Superman very small. The rest of it, the main focus is, of course, the romance between Lois Lane and Clark Kent. And the interesting take here, as I said in the initial video I did on this, is that she's more enamored with Clark Kent than Superman. Now, they're very young, depicted this way, just starting out at the Daily Planet. And so you got to factor that into some of the attitudes and how they play this out. But I was surprised. I expect Lois to be rather snotty towards both Clark and Superman because that's been the history of the character here and there. But it's not as much as I would have thought. So I'll give them that. And then more consolidation of the overall plot of the Kryptonian technology. We find out, there's a mysterious general that seems to be behind this version of Task Force X. And, of course, no surprise, it's Sam Lane, Lois's father. And the revelation that he had an encounter with Kryptonian technology. And the story goes into the potential that Superman would be an alien threat to Earth and a precursor to invasion. And it's understandable why they thought that, because it appears Zod and his crew had already attempted to invade Earth, and they failed. And it appears that sending Kal-El to Earth is a little different this time around than just the destruction of Krypton. I imagine Krypton has still been destroyed, but some of these elements, I don't think this is the direction they're going, but it's reminiscent of the plots from J.J. Abrams' Flyby script for Superman, which tried to make it more of a Star Wars story, I guess, and Lex Luthor is revealed to have been a Kryptonian, and it was really stupid. Krypton was never destroyed, and Jor-El's still alive on it, and there's a civil war over there, and Kal-El's got to go win that. Too far afield from Superman. Whereas in this one, most of the elements of Superman are still there, the Daily Planet and all that stuff. And a lot of gee whiz comical elements tossed in. That's a little too much. Again, for my taste, but I can't completely say this is a total piece of garbage. It really isn't. It's just not something I'm particularly interested in. Superman saves the day, but there is this cliffhanger element of Zod is on the way, so that's how they'll do it. There's a portal, and his fleet is trying to come through, and I don't know, because they show him attacking another planet. Maybe that's supposed to be Krypton or somewhere else, but I wouldn't think so, since Superman had lived his life on Earth. I thought, well, is he breaking out of the Phantom Zone, that kind of thing. But I guess not, since he seems to have conquered some other planet. But he wants to take Earth. But I guess, I don't know, he couldn't find it. And if the portal opens, then he can, and, maybe that's the deal. Again, not really for me, a little too silly in a lot of different parts, but it has its pluses. Again, I don't know. It's going to get a second season and all that. But as with everything, as I'm doing the Tomorrowverse movies, and some of them I really like. I think they did a very good job on them. Some of them, but all that's probably going to get scrapped come 2025 because of the DCU wanting to consolidate everything, unless, of course, they include animated features in the Elseworlds arm of it all, which they've been doing all along. I mean, they're doing their Tomorrowverse, but then they did the Doom That Came to Gotham, and that's its own separate universe, what have you. So I suppose they could do some of that. And but I mean, like they say, oh yeah, like Superman and Lois show, that'll be Elseworlds. Well, it ends with its final season, with the fourth season. So that'll be the final season. So I suppose, depending on the popularity of My Adventures of Superman, then sure, it would continue and just say, yeah, that's it's an Elseworlds thing, because presumably, depending on the success of Superman Legacy, there would be some animated adventures of Superman based on that character, with the actor David Cornsweet playing the voice of Superman in those cartoons and having them all connected. That was the plan initially announced. Whether that holds up going forward remains to be seen, and also whether it all depends on Superman Legacy, really. It has to not just be successful; it has to hit really big. And a little dubious on the possibilities, because there's a lot of things running against it. Even if it's a good movie, it can't just be good; it has to be great, and that's the situation they put themselves in. But anyway, I don't hate My Adventures with Superman, but I'm not that crazy about it. But I can understand some people who are more akin to that style and whatnot would probably enjoy it. There's not a lot there that I think is absolutely awful. There just really isn't. So it has its little moments here and there, but it wasn't enough to win me over. But I'm a sad old man, so. But certainly the anime influence and whatnot is very, very, very present there. And if that is indeed your cup of tea, then yeah, I suppose this cartoon could be right up your alley. So you could check out that version of Superman.